What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here at Lake Julian Disc Golf Course for another Formwork Friday, and today we have a Luna. We have a Luna and an MVP Watt, and these are both kind of slightly understable flip up to flat putters, but neither one of them likes to be thrown on Anhyzer, or at least not the way that I've been doing it. So we're going to try to get these to throw as consistent turnovers thrown on Anhyzer, and let's see if I can modify the throw or the form and make them actually do what I want. Hopefully this works out. Now, typically if I want the Luna or the Watt to turn over, I just throw it on just the babiest of hyzers and throw it really hard. And typically, if you throw a putter hard enough, it'll turn over. But I want to have more of a controllable touch control with both of these putters so that I can throw more of the panning turnover shot without it kind of turning and burning, which is what I've gotten out of these two discs. So I'm gonna try to modify it just a little bit, and if it's working out, I'll let you know what I'm doing. But we're just gonna start to throw some Anhyzers with two flippy putters. Okay, got a little bit more control there on those two. Basically, to get the power into the Anhyzer, that's where the issue really comes. I wanted to start off soft and smooth and know that at least makes it hold a nice slow panning turnover. Now let's try to impart a little bit more power and see if we can still control the angle. Now there is a bit of a tailwind on this hole, so I am going to have to throw them on Anhyzer if I want them to drift at all, because both of these are a little more on the wind dependent side. So if the tailwind comes up from behind, they're just not really going to flip. They're going to stay on pretty much the angle you throw them on. Question is, this hole's about 250 to the placement it's at. Can I put 250 feet of power onto these putters even with the tailwind and them not turn over? There's only one way to try, one way to find out. Let's go Luna first this time. Okay, that was about 200 feet of power. Yeah. Okay, so Watt likes it even less than the Luna. So what we need to focus on: clean, no flutter on the Watt, and I need to see if I can get it to come out more nose up than I am. So the way that I'm adding a little bit more control to this shot shape is I'm kind of bringing my elbow down at the last second of the throw, which is basically elbow down, wrist and fingers more up, which is putting it on more Anhyzer and also kicking it a little bit nose up. It's not good for your form to throw max power like this, and absolutely do not do this for your distance drivers, because this will hurt you. But if you're trying to just throw not even close to max power and you're trying to experiment with something, it's okay to make minor adjustments that might be bad for power throws but you might have more control with that adjustment. If that makes sense? If it starts to hurt, don't do it, basically is what I'm saying. Hole 10's tunnel shot fairway. It's gonna be a little bit tricky to get all the way down. I'm going to have to aim at basically this tree on the left side, because with the turnover and the headwind, they're gonna drift a little bit more than we want them to. So can I control it enough to not put it in the street? That's what I need to know. Okay, well, Watt is in the street, or across it. Okay. So, I mean, we already knew that the Watt is slightly flippier, but it really shows itself on that throw right there. Because as it was headed out towards the street, the Watt held on to that angle, and the Luna got a little bit of integrity and started to pan instead of just... Do you guys hear that? Wow, cool nature moment. But the Luna has a little bit more end of flight integrity, and so it will tend to pan, it will tend to come back, while you won't get that from the Watt. Now, spin and lack of spin do way more for the stability of the disc than basically anything else. Because if you throw a complete knuckleball of a throw and it's not spinning, it's going to flutter and then it's going to drop to the ground. Doesn't matter if you're throwing a super glidey, super understable disc, or if you're throwing the most overstable disc on the market, they're all going to do the same thing if you don't spin them. When you do start to spin them, you can see different flight characteristics start to emerge. And yeah, this one is just, the Watt is more blunted than the Luna, and because it's more blunted, it does have a slightly lower parting line, a little bit lower down on the rim, which is going to make it a little bit more understable. So the question becomes, can I spin this enough to maintain its integrity, not stability, its integrity, into a headwind? Can I spin the Luna enough to maintain its integrity into a headwind, even if I throw it on an Anhyzer angle? We're about to try it, and we're gonna find out. I'm gonna go Watt first. We do know this is a good bit flippier than the Luna that I've been throwing. Tiny little bit of a skitter out cut roll, but it basically held the exact angle it was on. So yes, you can throw the Watt on an Anhyzer angle, but it holds it for a little bit too long for that to be the comfortable release angle for that disc. Let's see if we can get a little bit more play out of this Luna. So obviously I'm not the best with aiming that shot with these two discs, because I don't really do that shot with these two discs. But the Watt maintained its angle of Anhyzer all the way to the ground, and then it didn't cut roll out because there's a hillside right where it hit. The Luna started to pan. It started to go from the angle it was on and started to get flatter, meaning that it's going to hold its integrity for longer. So as long as I spin it, I'll have more success with the Luna than I will with the Watt. But if I'm just kind of throwing flat shots and expecting a turn and a drift, the Watt's going to be more comfortable for me than the Luna would. So I think it is possible to get the shot that I'm looking for out of these two discs. I think that it's going to depend on how well I'm feeling about throwing which specific disc for that day, and what kind of throws I've been doing for most of the course. So what kind of throw am I most warmed up for? Am I warmed up for more of a hyzer flip to turn shot, in which case throw the Watt and throw it really hard? Or am I tuned up for more of a flat to soft Anhyzer release? I'll probably have more luck with the Luna. This isn't a Luna versus Watt battle. We've already looked at these two discs against each other. This is saying, do I personally have the capability and what makes me capable? And I think it majorly has to do with how much I'm spinning the disc, because the more I spin the disc, the less wobble and the less flutter and the more direct on its line. So the easier it will be to control on whatever angle you happen to throw it on. This feels like it's going to be the summer of the spin, and I may have to go pick up a spin at some point just for that. We're on hole 18. I'm going to try to not go as aggressive Anhyzer as the last hole, because I want a very long, slowly drifting turnover instead of a quick around the corner turnover. It's going to be interesting because the wind is coming off of the right side, so it's going to push the turnovers down. So we're going to do what we can to control the nose angle, and do what we can to control the spin rate, and do what we can to control the release angle, and then we're going to have to trust that the discs will do the work. So can we trust? We're going to go Watt first. That actually worked out way better than I expected it would. Let's see if the Luna does the same thing. I'm slightly confused. And maybe the first time I threw the Lunas, I was just really bad that day. Because the first time I threw the Lunas, they reacted very unstable. But the more I've thrown them, the more I've been able to put the spin that is required onto this disc, and suddenly it becomes a good bit more stable. Oh, I am so glad that I now have this shot back in my repertoire. I used to throw this shot all the time, but those discs that I used to throw it with have either disappeared or have gotten too understable. It's so nice that I'm finally able to have confidence, because that's the main thing, is confidence that if I throw this disc, it's not just going to burn over on me. I have more confidence in the Luna than with the Watt because of the slightly more understable version of the Watt, but I know if I need it, I have it. Hopefully some of this finds its mark and is helpful. Hopefully you find this enjoyable. If so, please make sure to like the video. If you want to see new stuff, make sure to comment all of that down below. Please make sure to subscribe. It helps you guys out with these subscriber-only giveaways. Definitely helps me out as well. And until next time, see you out on the course.